Okay, not sure if you can see my face or not because I'm filming my own video. Don't have my daughter here to help me because she has company today, and of course I'm gonna, kind of get ignored. But today we're going to go ahead and make some Lazy Man's gumbo. And the reason why I call it Lazy Man's gumbo is because it is a very quick way to make a very, very delicious gumbo. And on top of it, it is less expensive because we're not going to use a whole bunch of expensive meats and ingredients that would typically go in there. So let's go ahead and get started and see what we have boiling over here in this pot, okay? Now, so of course we want to take a really, really tall pot, just like you would when you're making some gumbo. And so we got in here some chicken pieces. Usually when I am preparing gumbo, I really don't, I've never made gumbo with like some white meat chicken breast. I love to make it with the, either a whole chicken or some pieces of chicken that have the skin on, because I want a little bit of fat on there. Well, actually, I want quite a bit of fat on there because that fat is where my flavor is going to come from. It's going to make a good base for my chicken. So I'm just giving that a stir so you can see that in here I got some wings, I have some legs, and I have some thighs. That's the pieces that make the best gumbo. That's my opinion, even if I was making rich man's gumbo today. Okay? Excuse me. Now, we're going to move on over to the side where we're going to see the ingredients that we're going to need to make the gumbo. This is hard to find, but this is, of course, you can see Campbell's cream of shrimp soup. Okay, definitely got to have this on your Lazy Man's gumbo, not if you're making actual gumbo. Okay, I always like to add a can of cream of chicken soup. Definitely love my chicken bouillon, as you all may have learned, because I love flavor. That's why you see all these seasonings lined up like this, okay? Then I also like to have a couple of different Creole, mixtures. I don't have my favorite one here. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened to it, but neither here nor there. Probably mix the two to get a good flavor. Some garlic powder, some accent, probably a little bit of sage will go in there. That'll get towards the end. Onion powder, parsley flakes just for color. We already had the sage, okay. And then love my paprika, favorite seasoning. We want to also have a can of mild diced tomatoes. If you like tomatoes in yours, I don't really care for it, but some people do. And some garlic powder. Of course, some coarse ground black pepper. And if you'll notice, now when I'm boiling my chicken, I've already put my okra in there. The reason why is because I'm not a fan of okra, but I love the flavor that it just brings out in gumbo. But I want it to cook and cook a lot longer than all the rest of my vegetables, okay? And then if we move over, we have a skillet here. This has some bacon fat in there and some cooking oil, okay? And we move further left. What I have here is about 5 celery stalks based on the size of that pot. That's a mama pot. And then we're going to put some sausage in there, smoked. And this is tail on shrimp, which we'll be adding that as well. A nice big whole bell pepper. If you're, find bell peppers and they're pretty small, get 2 of them because you want plenty of that bell pepper in there. Now over here, my husband has just already cut up 1 of the bell peppers for me. And you want plenty of onion in there. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is get to frying. So let me go ahead and start that process. We'll pick up where we left off. Record, is it now?
Yeah.
And I'm talking?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so anyway, come on, get on this. Okay, so right now, this is a semi-roux. The way that you would really make a roux, if you are going to make a really authentic gumbo, is by taking your shrimp that's right here. My daughter's not pointing to it. It's right down here. She's not doing it right. And you take all the tails off your shrimp and you put them in some oil and you cook them to get that, you want that flavor, what's the flavor I'm looking for? Seafood flavor. If you're going to have any type of a seafood gumbo, then you take the shell and you just kind of cook it in there. But right now, the only thing I have in here is going to be the vegetables that I had cut up and my sausage. The reason why I'm cooking them in this pot right here, and I'm pointing to, and that's Mama Skillet, together, instead of just cutting them up and throwing them in this big pot right here with the chicken and the okra, is because I want these flavors to get married. I want them to just get married. I have a whole bunch of seasonings in here. Like, for instance, I have some Creole seasoning. I mixed both of them to try to come up with the flavor that I want. I put a little filet in there so far, but not a whole bunch. Put a little bit of accent in there. And filet is really good to use mostly at the end. I have not added any of this. This would actually go into my big pot right here. So I put the cream of chicken and the cream of shrimp into this big pot once I remove my chicken and debone it, take off all the fat. So I have a whole bunch of garlic powder in here. I never like to use garlic salt or onion salt because then you can oversalt your food and it can really mess you up. Now I'm going to turn this up to high. The reason why I'm going to turn it up to high is because I want it to get semi-browned, like some of the vegetables. Because that's when you know that these flavors have married. And in the meantime, we're just letting the shrimp unthaw. And we're going to put them in last. And the reason why we're putting them in at the very, very last moment, and the filet at the very last moment, is because we do not want them to get tough. And that'll happen if you throw them in at the beginning. But the reason why we use this cream of mushroom soup is because it gives you a very, very nice seafood flavor without a fishy flavor. Okay? I'm debating if I want some tomatoes in there, diced tomatoes. That's why they're not open and boiling in here. I don't really love tomatoes in mine. Some people do, some people don't. So in this big pot right here, the only thing I put in there so far is some of this delicious, y'all know my favorite, chicken bouillon or chicken base powder. So that's what we're doing right now. And if you take a close look at this, it's frying high, but if you can see in the bottom, you have a nice little roux, nice little sauce that is going to go perfectly with your chicken. Alright, so we're going to pause for a moment, debone the chicken. We're going to remove the chicken, debone it, take the skin off, but we're going to leave this big pot of water, and we're going to go from there in just a moment.